What's up, gamers? Welcome to the video. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Koobs, and today we'll be taking a look at a brand new MMORPG that just launched this week called Throne and Liberty. Now, personally, I'm a bit of a budget gamer, so when a new free game comes out, I usually at least give it a little bit of time, try it out, see if it's for me, see if it's something that I'm gonna want to invest more time into. And I've spent probably about 12 to 16 hours with the game so far. Still very early on, certainly haven't reached end game yet, so these will be mostly first impressions, but I've been having a little bit of fun with the game, to be quite honest. Background here at the beginning, we've got what is called a co-op dungeon, so this is going to give a little bit of a glimpse at what the gameplay will look like when you're in like a big team PvE setting. So we're all teaming up to take on this boss. My character specifically, I'm playing the defensive role, so I'm a bit of a tank. We've got a sword and a shield. There's DPS units on the team, and then we've also got, I think, one healer or supportive role. So we're all working together, common goal, trying to take down this boss, and this will give you a glimpse of what the gameplay looks like. If you're not really familiar or you haven't really played an MMORPG before, with Throne and Liberty, you're not really button mashing as much as some of the other games in the genre. You basically press one button to activate your attack, and you'll just kind of continuously automatically attack the enemy that you're targeting. And then you have these different skills that you're really kind of focused more on activating your skills when the cooldown is up, managing your resources like your health bar and your mana bar, and just overall trying not to die while contributing the most to the team with your, whether it's going against a boss in this example. There's also large-scale PvP, so basically one guild or a faction can go against another, and different things like that. I think that there's also larger raids. I'm not sure exactly how many people are in the raids, so maybe closer to 12, 16, maybe even 20 players at one time, where you have multiple tanks and way more DPS units and a couple of support units, so multiple people who are healing the team, different things like that. And so if you're not really familiar, this might be a good opportunity to kind of spend some time playing an MMORPG. This is released on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and I believe it's also available on Steam. So nice range of consoles that you can play from, and we'll talk a little bit about the beginning, the starting out portion of the game, and different things like that. Some of the things that I've been a fan of. And yeah, so again, thanks so much for being here. We got some loot, got some fat loots from taking down our boss, and then we're just gonna mosey on out of there. But when you first start, you're gonna have a server selection. You can search by your region to make sure that you're gonna have the best connection. And there's a list of servers here. If you're looking to play with your friends, you probably want to get on the same queue about which server you're going to be on. On PlayStation, there's a specific server for PlayStation Network. That's the one I went with, and it disables any sort of crossplay, but I've had a lot of really good connection when it comes to the stability of the game. They'll go through a little bit of an intro, some cutscenes, you'll figure out who's who, the good guys, the bad guys, and whatnot. It'll send you into your character creator. Relatively in-depth when it comes to character creation. For the most part, one of the things that I like about it is that you don't really pick a class. In a lot of MMORPGs of this style, you pick an archetype or you pick a class, and that kind of sets you on a path from the very beginning. But the way that this is set up in Throne and Liberty is you just have a character, and then early on you're going to be able to pick. They'll basically give you all of the weapons to choose from, and they'll say, pick 2 weapons that you like, and just kind of build around them. So we have the greatsword. We've also got a sword and shield. We have daggers, so that's going to be like the faster melee option. We've got longbows and hand crossbows, and then we've got like a sorcery staff as well as a wand and spellbook. So the sorcery staff is going to be more of your like fire and ice magic, and the wand and spellbook is going to be more of like the healer role, but there's also some, I think they like focused on like curses and things like that when it comes to spell casting. Pretty straightforward tutorial so far. As far as combat goes, it's been very straightforward. One of the things that I do like is that there's an active block mechanic. So there'll be this indicator that comes up on your screen. It's like a purple circle, and as it gets close to the center, you want to time your, whether it's a block or it's a dodge that your character has, in order to basically take less damage or no damage at all. And I think that's a really cool mechanic for a game like this, where usually you're trying to like dodge AoE attacks and things like that. But here you can see like there's almost 100 people out in this field and haven't really had any issues when it comes to frame rate drop or lagginess or anything like that. As far as skills go, so you're going to have this whole menu of skills. You're going to unlock new skills gradually, and then you can pick and choose which ones of those skills you want to use and which skills you want to focus on upgrading. And when it comes to upgrading, it's kind of interesting the way that they have it set up. Basically, you get a resource that's going to help you upgrade your skills. And when you use the resource, there's basically like a baseline, like a minimum experience that you're going to get from using it. But there's also a percentage chance that you get more than that baseline minimum. So there are some times when you could use a resource to upgrade one of your skills, and it might go from level 1 all the way to level 2 right away. Here we can see we got about halfway through on our skill when we upgraded it, but there's a chance that we could have gotten more experience from using the same amount of resources, if that makes sense. So kind of nice in that sense. It's a little bit RNG as far as the good luck goes, but at the very least you're getting kind of like a baseline minimum when it comes to upgrading. Same thing goes with weapons and with armor. And when it comes to your weapons and armor, a lot of it so far I've been kind of crafting. They'll give you materials to craft your armor rather than just saying, hey, you completed this quest, here's your reward. It's a specific helmet that maybe you're going to use or maybe you're not going to use. They'll give you the crafting resources and materials that you need so that you can go to the vendor and you can pick out what armor you want to craft, so that you know that it's going to fit on your build and that it's going to work synergistically with what you're going for. And then you can use your leveled up weapons and armor to further increase the level of your, like, the new gear that you get to replace those things, if that makes sense. So I think that's kind of nice, because your investment isn't necessarily lost once you find a new piece of gear. You just cycle it into the new gear. If you're familiar with MMORPGs, oftentimes you have a mount, and what Throne and Liberty has done is kind of cool, in my opinion. They've said, no, man, you're the mount. And so you literally just morph into, whether it's a land creature, an air creature, or a water creature. So for, running, gliding, and swimming, you have these different morphs that you go into. You might have also noticed that when I turned into that wolf, I had like orange hair, and it takes the color of your character's hair and it uses that on your morph to make it like even more so like this is still your character and you're just transforming into another creature. And I think that's such a cool idea. I really enjoy that. It's a simple touch, but I've been loving it. I'm going to kind of wrap things up here because it's getting a little bit long-winded. I do have a quick tip here at the very end that I'm going to go over briefly for anybody who's actually playing the game right now. But if you just came to check out the video, thanks so much for being here. Give it a shot. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You download a game, you spend a couple hours with it, you don't like it, you uninstall. But I have been and always will be Coobs. Peace and love to you gamers. Anyone who is still sticking around in the background, what I'm going over is, it's kind of like a side quest that you get relatively early on. It says to visit the Amitoi house, and when you look around on your map, you're not going to see the Amitoi house anywhere. What you have to do, at least on console, you have to hold the left trigger, and it'll bring up this wheel of different things that you can choose from. You have to click your left thumbstick, and then there will be an option that says visit Amitoi house, and you want to use it from there, and it'll teleport you to this little, almost like a little hobbit house. There are these little characters, they're called Amitois, I guess, and they kind of like help you out in different ways, but you could send them on expeditions. This took me a lot longer than I thought it would to figure out, so I figured I'd just throw it at the end of the video for anybody who's maybe playing the game, giving it a shot, and stop by to check things out. Maybe this is something you were a little bit stuck on, so just a little extra resource for you here. You can do your expeditions from this menu, and then when you're done, you can just hold triangle, and it'll give the option to leave. So I've been having fun with it so far. Hopefully you do too. If you've got any comments, you want to, leave your thoughts, feel free to do so. Again, I have been and always will be Coobs. I really appreciate you for being here. Peace and love to you, gamers.